Jesus, this is not a fun world, man. Not what I would want to be a part of. Today, Father ordered the dinner table to be brought out to the yard. For the first time in months, he's home outside of the confines of his always locked study. He spent the entire day playing with Nathan and you, discussing various matters with Stefan, now an adolescent, and walking into the garden, and now a dinner under the open sky. Your entire family gathers together with your father at the head of the table, smiling. He asks each of you about your studies. Nathan climbs up on his knee and recites a counting rhyme in a funny sing-song voice. Stefan mentions that his fencing teacher praises his accomplishments. He rises from the table together with Father to show his skill in a practice duel. Next comes Gloria's turn. She stands at her table and recites a lengthy prayer by heart. Mother showers your sister with praise. Father chuckles quietly, hiding a smile on his mustache. When your turn comes, you recite all the ranks of the Legion from common soldier to high commander. Stefan listens to you with a skeptical look on his face. Night slowly falls, but the servants ensure that the yard is well illuminated. You don't feel cold in the dusk tonight. It feels good, yet so important. All of you are finally together, sitting at the same table. No fighting, just smiles, no arguing, just pleasant small talk. Then a servant approaches Father with a letter in his hand. He reads it in a dim light, and each line gradually washes the smile off his face. Father's face until only a stone-cold mask remains. Mother looks at Father with an unspoken question in her eye. Gregor Brante is coming back to Anzot. He is the head of the family, my father. Grandpa's coming, oh yay! That doesn't sound too excited about though. Grandfather's return. Your grandfather Gregor Brante returned to the family home from the capital. Dad didn't seem too excited. An intrusion. Ever since the news of grandfather's impending arrival, there has been a single day wherein the house has not been cleaned or decorated. Your parents anxiously make sure everything is in order. They tell you to wash your face and hands after walks and scold you for leaving books on the floor. They tell Gloria she'll be flogged if she's ever seen hiding in the attic. They make Stefan stay in his room. Even baby Nathan gets in trouble. Everyone is on edge. Then one day, grandfather arrives. It is a grim day, so hot your neck is sticky with sweat. Father, mother, and Stefan, Gloria, you, and Nathan, the entire Brante family stands on the porch in front of the house. The house servants lined up behind you. The carriage arrives, and out steps a tall, gaunt old man with a heavy walking stick and a heavier gaze. You cringe instinctively. Good health to you, Father. Children, greet your grandfather as you've been taught. Still trying to look like a real nobleman, are you? You can't fool me, Robert. I was the first of the Brante family to be ennobled by the mantle, and I'm the only one who remembers how to properly bear this burden. I live honorably by my lot. Your marriage to that lowborn wrench cuts us off from ever becoming nobles of the sword. My progeny could have been born bearing noble blood. Father, I beg you, this is not the place. Grandfather eyes him with scorn and walks into the house, the entire family following close behind him. Grandpa's a dick. I have been away far too long. This entire house is a mess. This is an insult. How can you live in this pigsty, Robert? The servants have grown far too lazy, all thanks to your commoner of a wife. I warned you, did I not? And yet you did as you saw fit. And the children, what do they know of tradition or honor? They are being raised in a virtuous family, Father. And now you're speaking like a lowborn who's content to live in humility. Twins willing, now that I'm here, this will not happen again. I'm taking your oldest son to the capital. I see you cannot provide Stefan with proper education, so I will correct your mistake. Your brother's fate has been decided, just like that. Father does not object. He orders the servants to prepare Stefan for the journey. Stefan freezes in place, glancing at Father again and again. The latter puts a hand on his shoulder reassuringly. Grandfather's lips are a tight white line with contempt. The house is examined room after room. Everything Grandfather sees is showered with scorn. He scoffs at a crease on a blanket in Nathan's crib in Mother's bedroom. He mocks Gloria's knitting in a room. The next door is yours. What is this, Robert? 10 soldiers in your younger son's room? He was born a commoner. I wouldn't have him daydreaming of battle. Grandfather seizes the box containing the 10 warriors of the Holy Order. Your father stays silent. Anger boils inside you. This is your big present from the first day of your studies. It means so much to you. But what if he's right? What if you need to prove your right to command the toy soldiers first? Grandfather shakes his head in disapproval and shoves the toy box into the roaring fireplace. If you wait too long, they will melt in the flames. Oh dear. Well, we can't watch them helplessly or rescue them. That sucks. I guess we're just gonna go kick him. The intrusion. Overwhelmed by helpless rage, you run to your grandfather and kick him in the leg with all the strength you can muster. Yet he is unmovable. The next thing you see is him towering over you menacingly with his heavy walking stick in hand. Lowborn scum, how dare you raise a hand to me? The blow hits home. The handle of the walking stick is heavy as a rock. You're dazed, robbed of hearing and sight. Down comes another blow, then a sharp plane splits your head, then darkness. Your hand twitches against your will, then again and again, like it is trying to catch a flying butterfly, and then you fall into a primordial void. The void takes you away takes away a part of you, one of your lives you were given to live. It will never return. There is pain and a desperation and a sense of loss. Nothing can be done now. He just murdered us. The first death. You fall into a pain that embraces you like a soft feather bed. You feel free. There are no restraints, just a warm glow that envelops you in its secure embrace. The waves carry you. Their touch is soft. They delicately enshroud what was once your body. It is a feeling unlike anything you've ever experienced before, something absolute and complete. You touch something greater, the reason behind everything, the reason of your very existence. You were sculpted from this light. It was the very first thing you ever felt, a boundless and sincere unity of the diverse. Your beginning was a spark that cast this light in all directions, and now you are here again, one with the beginning of everything. The light gleaming from you resembles the light of the shining pillar. You will still see it. It is in the north, as always. The waves of light carry you to two figures. The elder is nearest. He is ready to accept you. He is quiet, wise, and kind and pure. The younger waits farther back. You do not know what he is yet. The waves pause at the elder's feet. He leans over you and plants a feather-like kiss on your forehead. The kiss spreads all over you. You're filled with unparalleled delight and bliss. You exist. You are unique. There is no one else like you. They know this, and they love you. You will never be alone. You are a part of them, a part of your family, a part of this universe. The twin gods will never leave you. They watch over you constantly. The elder softly touches you as you lie spread out amongst the waves, sending you farther down the torrent of light. You float on to the top of the silver tree's spreading crown. The closer you get to the silver tree, the heavier you become. The waves draw you down along its trunk. You do not wish to part with this warmth and softness, with the love. You turn around. The elder is still watching you. He nods. All is as it should be. Go. Your time has not come yet. You must return to the world now. As you tumble down toward your body, you comprehend the true meaning of your lesser death and the divine love that has been revealed to you. Love exists not only in the hereafter, it is present in the entire world of the twins. That is the origin of all life. What is the manifestation of this love in your mortal life? Is it the Empire? By creating the Empire, the twin gods care for all living creatures. The Empire is the only thing that gives them a place in this world and a connection to others. It is an enormous family made for people by the gods. It's your lot. The gods give you a clear mission. It's definitely not the lot. Family, love is always lives in kindred blood. You share the miracle of life in the universe with your kin. Your family is what gives you, it could be family, cause. The love of the gods have for you is so great they allow you to change the world they have created, to influence with your deeds. Whatever your mission is, it is proof of the gods' love yourself. What could be a stronger manifestation of love than your very existence? Your every emotion, every thought, every action exists by the virtue of love for which these twin gods created. You know what? It's gonna be like cause. Is like, yeah, I'm gonna go cause. A sudden comprehension of love, with which the entire world is imbued, illuminates your mind, but then it fades away and vanishes. You regain the sensation of your flesh. It is heavy and unwieldy. It lacks the lightness. That light, it is a burden. It is smothering you. You gasp for air. Your chest expands painfully. You feel as though your lungs are about to burst. The stagnant odor of the crypt fills them, revolting but so real. You are back. And just like that, we're back. And we're gonna kill Grandpa. I mean, what? Then you smell a sickly, moist smell. You feel dampness all around you. You come back to your senses in the gloom of the family crypt, lying flat on a stone slab. Your parents are on their way to the crypt right now. You hear their muffled voices. They are arguing against all rules. Mother will not agree with father. Why would Sir Gregor do this? He just took one of our child's lives. Lydia, my father is our family head, and the boy raised a hand to him. There was nothing we could do, and father did admit that he was too hard on him. Oh, that's nice. Please do not anger Sir Gregor. You need to accept this. It will never happen to any of our children ever again. Their voices grow quiet as they lean over you. You lean on your elbows and try to get up from the stone. Mother gingerly wraps her cloak over your naked body as you shiver from the cold. My son, your first death came far too soon. I know it may be difficult to realize what happened, but know this. The twin gods are ever merciful. You are a child, and your time to leave for the hereafter has not yet come. You will be returned here by the gods twice more, but do not attempt fate again, and never ever defy those who can easily take your life. Noob, you have angered your grandfather greatly. Do not stand in Sir Gregor's way ever again, and he will never hurt you again. For now, just stay away from him. Father stays a step away from you, not saying a word. When Mother finishes talking, he picks you up and carries you outside. Together, your parents take you from the family crypt. On your way out of the crypt, you take a moment to touch your head. It is perfectly fine. There's no sign of the blow. Back home, Grandfather is still walking through the house examining the rooms, and you can see that Stefan and Gloria are disturbed by what just happens. Nathan starts crying when he sees you. The playroom still reeks of burnt paint. There is something new about you now, a pitch-black stripe on your left arm. It looks like a strange bit of dirt at first, but will not wash off. It'll be like that forever, Mother explains, and that is all she will say of it. Nah, apparently Gregor has the taste for us. Guess what? I have this taste for you! And we gained a determination and a perception. The event has happened. Suffer your first death. As a small child, you suffer your first death. Well. Just like that. So as a consequence of your previous actions, perception 4. Cool. The ant farm. Your younger brother Nathan is growing. Mother spends more time with the rest of your family now. You help her and play with your brother and take care of him when she asks. You often go to Mother's room to sit at the foot of her bed after Nathan falls asleep. She reads you the sacred books and asks you about the things you learned that day. During these moments, you see the world through her eyes as well. One day, the door of your room opens and she brings in a large box with a piece of cloth. It is rare for you to see her so overjoyed. She sets the box on the floor and removes the cloth. The box under the cloth is made of glass and has a wooden base. Inside you see a layer of earth shaped into carefully crafted passages, and these passages are full of hardworking ants. This is my gift to you, an ant farm. It's a little world in a small box. We can watch them through the glass. Look, this is the queen ant. She was the reason all these little ants were born. You sit by the box together, you hold your breath, and as you watch the ant colony at work, there turns out to be a method to the ants' chaotic movement. Every single one of them has a task to perform. Some of them have larger mandibles, and they are the protectors of the colony. They can draw blood from your finger. Others work all around the colony, repairing the walls, clearing any debris from the passages. There are also workers who collect food you put in a special tray, leaves, bits of meat, maggots, and bring it to the rest of the colony. You take a worker ant and put it right next to the food. However, the insect has no interest in it. It starts circling around the tray aimlessly. It takes the stray ant and puts it back where it belongs. Why did you do that, my son? The ants cannot do what they weren't born to do. Each of them was born for their own job. You shake your head slowly. If only the ants could do whatever they wanted to. This is your gift now, so they belong to you. Or maybe your mother's presence is the reason they won't obey you. Yeah, we'll keep playing with Mom. She was her gift. We can let her stick around and stuff. Mom loves us, right? Mother's look is full of warmth and love. Nathan, Gloria, and Father are away right now. For the first time in a long while, it's just the two of you, and Mother takes great joy in watching over the ant farm. She shares her knowledge of the world with you, and the things she tells you are true. You move closer into her and suggest going outside and finding some bugs for the ants. She agrees to this happily and holds your hand as you leave the house. So you and you are busy catching bugs and sharing your thoughts on how the ants will feed the colony with them. From time to time, you laugh together, making up stories about errant flies and caterpillars overthrowing the ant kingdom. You and your mother hold hands as you smile. As you return to your room, she can't help but smile. It is a faint smile, a child smile, a smile full of sunlight. You're so happy to have seen the world through her eyes today. And we made Mom happy. That's always nice. And we got some more willpower. Woo! We're not at 0 now. That's also good. Ho ho ho, what's next? Father's sword. Oh, this is the other event. When Father is not working long hours, you often see him spending long stretches of time in the backyard practicing his fencing. You are allowed to watch, but that is it. You are forbidden from touching the sword, let alone actually learning how to fight with it. It is a new day today, and Father has been busy in his studies since early morning. Mother took Gloria and Nathan to the shops. Your studies are done for today. The house is empty. You spot Father's sword hanging by the yard door. It must have been left there by accident after a training session. You deliberate at first, then grab the sword with resolve and run outside. It's also deliberate, my bad. At last, you have a chance to see it up close. It is a small sword used for dueling, heavy and devoid of any ornamentation. You recall that it was made specifically for him. The weapon is difficult to handle. Its heft makes the palm of your hand shake. As you get used to it, you try your best to imitate Father's feints. Your technique leaves much to be desired, but at least it's something. You imagine yourself fighting for the family's honor as the thin blade slices through the air. But you swing too far back. The blade nicks your shoulder and cuts through your shirt, staining the fabric crimson. The sword falls to the ground with a dull clang. You try to apply pressure to the wound, make it stop bleeding, but all you do is make the blood flow faster. Noob, what are you doing here? A familiar voice hurts you more than the cut of the sword. Father walks up briskly. His rugged arm rips off a length of cloth and bandages your shoulder. He squats by your side as you pull into an awkward embrace. My son, why did you have to take the sword? You know you're not supposed to hold it. This is no toy, it is a weapon that can take lives. I know how you feel. I used to yearn for my father's dueling sword back when I was a lad. One day you might have a chance to earn the right to carry a weapon, but first you must have patience and study and become a noble. When that day comes, I'll be proud to teach you myself. You rarely spend time with Father without someone else around. There is a paternal love in his voice, so much that even the cut on your shoulder barely hurts now. You would be glad to be convinced by what he says, but how can you forget your dream? How can you abandon it just to earn Father's approval? Is it right for him to ask so much of you? You know what? Teach me the basics, Dad. Father's inquisitive look presses you for an answer. It takes you a long time to muster enough courage to speak. You beg him to teach you how to fight, at least the very basics. It will certainly come in handy in your future. It will be your first step towards becoming a nobleman. Now it takes Father a long time to speak to respond. He's about to speak, and you expect a refusal, but he says nothing. He draws a sharp breath, but remains quiet, then finally offers you the sword. But remember this, noob, you are not yet a warrior. You will study this like you study your lessons. He teaches you the first lesson right away. You learn to dodge attacks. There are several times when the tip of the blade cuts the air dangerously close to your nose. It's scary and difficult, but you manage it. And that day forth, Father teaches you the foundations of sword fighting in great secret. You use your passion for tree climbing to explain the cuts you receive during training. Soon you learn how to hold your own in duel, but will you ever need this art in real life? Yes. I guarantee it. Hey, we did the fencing lesson. Oh, apparently we didn't get the ant one. I guess we had to play with ourselves to get the ant one. Oh well. Sad, but oh well. Fall, the master of the house. Soon grandfather leaves. Your elder brother Stefan goes with him. From that day on, father's hired teachers tend to you alone. They bore you with monotonous lectures on writing, counting, and the way of life in the blessed Arknian Empire. You often distract yourself from their instruction by playing with your younger brother Nathan. Your home grows quiet without your elder brother. Too quiet. Weeks later, your family receives a letter from Stefan. Grandfather sent him to a boarding school for nobles, and he is studying hard in preparation for his service as a nobleman. The rules here are way too strict. You can't even sneeze without the teacher's permission. But I've been studying with my peers. We're learning how to live as nobles in this noble society. We're also learning the art of swordplay. That's my favorite part. With Stefan now at the boarding school, grandfather arrives once more, this time to live in your home. The only good thing is that he often has urgent business in Eterna, the capital of the empire, and has to travel there. One day you ask your mother where he lived before. In Eterna, he says, but now his place is here. Each time grandfather returns, he gives the servants new orders. Your home is now always busy with repairs. The servants are redecorating grandfather's chambers, including his library and sitting room. Sometimes father tries to gently talk him out of this. Why subject the house to constant reconstruction? Grandfather's answer is always the same. This home is mine, and I will live here as befits a man of nobility. Grandfather, when you just want to die. Some days grandfather stays home, and on those days you try your best to stay out of his sight. But there is no way you can avoid family breakfast. The food is there, but you cannot bring yourself to eat it. Mother's eyes are red and swollen. She's been crying all night again. Grandfather sits on the head of the table where nobody used to sit before. Robert, it is high time your youngest sons underwent their sacraments. Sir Brante, please let them live free of the lot for a little while longer. But shut your mouth. Robert, that wife of yours is impertinent enough to interrupt me. If this ever happens again, she'll be eating her gruel with the servants in the kitchen where she belongs. It is time you considered a real marriage, Robert, one to a woman of proper station. Gloria drops her fork. Grandfather shoots her a scathing look. A tear rolls down mother's cheek. Father does not look away from his plate. His hands are clenched. Baroness Ladar is one such woman. She is a comely widow and a fine match. She is suing for her inheritance right now and could use a proper support and a husband. You can't keep your lowborn Lydia around if you like. Servant, mistress, I don't care. I will not do that, father. I am the head of this family. The family's standing took a severe blow after your marriage and that commoner. It's unthinkable. How could you give up the memory of that beautiful Amalia Elborn for this lowly woman and that bastard child of hers? But now you have a chance to set things right. Don't disappoint me. Father nods curtly, trying not to look in mother's direction. Father, I wish to see Stefan. If I find your conduct in the Baroness's presence satisfactory enough, then you may see him. She is coming for a visit tomorrow. Be prepared. Grandfather wipes his mouth with his napkin, throws it in his plate, and leaves. Mother's lips move silently. Nobody says a word. Then father stands up and orders you and the other children back to your rooms. He needs to speak to mother in private. Father comes to your room before bedtime. He sits on the edge of your bed and adjusts the crease on the woolen blanket. He distances himself from you after Stefan's departure, so you're not used to so much attention from him. In the candlelight, you can see his face in the dark. There is a sour expression on it. My son, Baroness Emma Ladar, will be visiting us tomorrow. Please be polite and treat her with respect. Nathan will do as you do. I want this dinner to be as immaculate as possible. Don't let me down. On the next day, mother starts dressing you and Nathan for the coming dinner. You see red all around her eyes. She's been crying for a long time. It hurts just to look at her. Nathan starts whining quietly. You and Nathan are dressed in new doublets, your hair tousled, your tousled hair brushed into shape. Gloria is told to stay in her room. Father appears wearing his best suit. Mother is a humble brown dress looking pale. Grandfather has an uncharacteristically contented look about him. You hear the sound of wheels and hooves against the cobbles into the yard. Then a pair of dainty heels come clacking. The antechamber is completely quiet, and still fearing grandfather's observant eye, the door opens. You see your guest, a beautiful dark-haired woman in a dress of an elegant deep blue. Father takes the hand of Lady Eldadar and kisses it, showering her in compliments. Grandfather's face is beaming in her presence. No one even bothers to introduce mother. Baroness, allow me to introduce you to Robert's sons, Noob and Nathan Brante. Frankly, it's his eldest Stefan who deserves the most attention, but currently he is studying in Eterna with other young noblemen like himself. It is my hope that his younger sons will also make me proud one day. Grandfather eyes you with a probing look. How will you act in front of the Baroness? Will you accept her here next to your mother, or your father's rightful wife? Mother should be introduced. You follow your father's example and kiss the Baroness's fingers lightly, gently. Her laughter fills the antechamber, ringing like chimes. Behind your back, you can hear your mother sobbing. Grandfather nods to your approval. Out of the corner of your eye, you see mother quietly walking upstairs. No, this is wrong. This cannot be. You walk up to father, look him in the eye, and ask in a voice loud enough to be heard by everyone why didn't he introduce mother to the guest? She is legal wife and your mother, is she not? There is silence. Mother stops on the stairs and turns her head in surprise. Father is confused. Nathan starts whining again. Grandfather grinds his teeth, his hands tightly gripping the heavy walking stick. You keep father transfixed by your gaze. After a few moments that feel like an eternity, he winks at you, almost imperceptibly, then adjusts his doublet and turns to your noble guest. Baroness, allow me to introduce Lydia Brante, my wife and mother to my younger children. Lydia, would you be so kind as to join us for dinner? What are you saying, Robert? Father, it would be a disgrace to hold a family dinner without the lady of the house. Father marches up the stairs and offers his hand to mother. She accepts it and walks down with a shy smile on her face for the first time in those many days. The Baroness presses her lips in contempt at the sight. After a long moment, Grandfather finally breaks the uneasy silence and leads everyone into the dining room. Mother sits at the farthest corner of the table, claiming that she needs to watch over Nathan. There's barely any small talk over dinner, apart from the Baroness and Grandfather discussing her widowhood and her inheritance litigation. Father and Mother do not say a word throughout the meal, yet they no longer look as tense as the day before. There is not even a mention of any potential marriage. As soon as the door closes behind the Baroness, you flee to your bedroom and lock the door. Grandfather's heavy footsteps can already be heard in the hallway. He is a force of anger, eager to get his hands on you. Welp, you had the nerve to interfere in the adults' affairs. You ruined the dinner with the Baroness. Open this door instant and face your punishment you deserve. Then suddenly his voice dies down. You hear Father speaking quietly. We both realize there can be no other marriage, Father. I already have a wife and there's nothing to be done about it. I'm sorry, Father, but you will have to accept it. And please leave my son alone. He has only helped me face the truth and nothing else. Grandfather huffs and puffs at a loss for words. You hear the head of the Brante family and his adult son retreat from the door of your room. It seems there will be no punishment today after all. Grandfather leaves for Eterna alone. For about a fortnight later, Father receives a letter from Stefan. It seems Grandfather told him of the incident with the Baroness, and so the letter is full of ire. He writes that you have reminded a high society about Father's marriage to a low-born woman, and now the family's reputation is at stake. Father winces when he reads Stefan's letter deep in thought, but Mother is smiling again because of the father's actions, her joy, quiet, happy glow. He does not like us very much. Well, Unity, we're getting closer, but our reputation is very bad. But we're bringing family closer together. Are we on like the last year of childhood? Because this is getting to be like an hour-long episode. The kaleidoscope. Father now checks on your studies often and nitpicks you for sitting or eating or speaking in incorrect fashion. Once he becomes so annoyed, he says that he wishes Stefan had been the one to stay home instead of you. You never expected to hear these words from your father of all people. Grandfather's trip to the capital took longer than expected. It feels lighter around the house without his presence. You allow yourself a little change of scenery. Instead of your room, you are now busy yourself with reading and calculations in the sitting room across from the open door to the yard. Gloria has joined you today. She has already helped you progress through several complex passages in the book. Right now, she seems to be preoccupied with a strange tube. Aren't you hurt by the way Grandfather treats you, you ask? Gloria shrugs. Grandfather always says they should get rid of me. I'm used to it now. He hurts you a lot worse because you're closer to him. I just have to stay out of his way, that's it. She shows you the strange tube she has been holding all day. Look, it's a kaleidoscope. I got it as a gift. Want to see inside? Excited by the idea, you close the book and peer into the tiny hole on one end of the tube. Your eye sees a multitude of intricate patterns. Each turn of the tube reveals a new web of interwoven colors. They mesmerize you. The kaleidoscope turns the fiery burning in the fireplace into cavalry made of flames. You're riding at the front of the fiery horseman, ready to face the enemy. Grandfather's face emerges from the intersecting lines, and you swing the kaleidoscope like a sword, cutting it in half. Now you look at the blue sky through the window. The patterns are unending, secretive and calm and peaceful, just like Father's smile before Grandfather's invasion. The deep blue gives way to a scattering of gold, radiating gentle warmth, like Mother's arms. This fleeting beauty, too, soon gives way to hypnotic new pattern. Again and again, you see your family in these interconnecting figures, and as they come together and break apart. And in the middle of this golden glow, you see Gloria's green eyes, gazing at you observantly. Your sister left you long ago. The books are abandoned and time slips away unchecked, but you're still busy peering into the kaleidoscope. Order emerges from the chaos before your eyes again and again, but you cannot preserve it no matter how you try. You are caught in an inner conflict. There's so much that can be done with this kaleidoscope. Should you take it apart or ask Gloria how it works, or keep enjoying the patterns it shows you? But still, you have lessons today. I guess we should be going, I guess we should be doing this. Get some more willpower, I guess. You continue peering into the ever-changing patterns the kaleidoscope offers you. They become truly interesting when you point at the shining pillar gleaming in the sky. In your mind's eye, one battle follows another, filling your ears with clanging steel and neighing of horses. You are leading the Imperial army now. Everyone is so proud of you. Your grandfather says you're better than Stefan, and your father's stern voice cuts your daydream short. You lost track of all time. It is evening now. How did you get your hands on this toy, noob? Why aren't you studying? Give it to me. You'll have double the lessons tomorrow. Alright, but at least I got to have fun today. At least I got to have fun today. Sweet temptation. Grandfather's visits are no longer a cause for fear and panic in the house. He's become something that you're used to, something nagging yet not unordinary, like a splinter or a stain on your trousers. Tension still remains. However, Sir Gregor's disdain for everyone in the house is so palpable it almost stings for real. Your lessons with the tutor are done for today. You are walking down the stairs when you spot Gloria peeping into the sitting room through a slightly open door. You sneak up on your sister and tap her on the shoulder. She is startled. Oh, it's you, noob. Look, Sir Gregor's eating something. Grandfather is sitting in the sofa, flipping through a book with one hand and reaching for a glass bowl with another now and then. Inside the bowl you see candied fruit, a sweet confectionery forbidden to the common estate, like all sweet things. Yet Grandfather's face shows no pleasure as he keeps consuming these high-born treats. The clock strikes 3. Grandfather rises from his seat, puts away the bowl on a shelf, and leaves for the yard. He takes a walk at the city. In the city this time. Gloria nudges you with your elbow and looks at the candy bowl when you look at her. The first emotion you feel is fear, but the next comes curiosity, and it is stronger. Stefan used to boast that candied fruit tastes incredible. Now you have an opportunity to try it. You try a candied fruit first. The sugar starts to melt as soon as you put it on your tongue. It is so sweet you've never eaten anything as good as this. You take the whole bowl off the shelf and give it to your sister. She takes a fruit and brings it to her mouth carefully, like a rare treasure. There's a thumping on the stairs, footsteps accompanied by knocking of a walking stick. You have no idea why, but Grandfather is back. You quickly hide behind the sofa and pull Gloria after you. She is frozen in place with the bowl in her hands. The door opens. Grandfather's menacing figure advances on Gloria. His hands seizes her arm. You squalid, ungrateful, lowborn child, how dare you bite the hand that feeds you? You and your trollop of a mother would be sleeping in a ditch if it weren't for my spineless son. The sweet and pleasant things in life are for the noble estate, not for the likes of you. Did you forget your lot? His hand swings and hits Gloria on the cheek. She falls on the floor right next to where you were hidden. Her fingers glisten with the warm melted sugar that brought you here. Grandfather advances again, his walking stick ready, but then he sees you huddling behind the armchair. Please don't hurt him, Sir Brante. This is all my fault. He tried to stop me. You can already see a bruise in Gloria's cheek. This is only the beginning of her punishment. Gloria was caught red-handed. Unlike you, you can still avoid punishment. What is it then, Milksop? Did you try to the sugar too? Or are you trying to stop this piece of filth like she says? I want to be able to do this. Why can't I do this? Oh, I'm gonna tell him the truth. I'm not gonna let her just get beaten. You stand up and tell the truth. Even though it takes an effort to do it, you actually ate that candied fruit, but Gloria only touched it. You hope this will help your sister avoid punishment. You are quickly proven wrong. Grandfather's face is red with rage. He strikes you both with his walking stick, blow for blow. He keeps hitting you until he grows tired and then leaves you where you are. Soon enough, Mother comes in to find the two of you on the floor, too afraid to move. She shakes her head in disappointment. You're badly hurt and covered in bruises, yet she still forces you to kneel and recite the precepts on the lots and how important it is to follow them. Then you stand before Father and Grandfather and swear never to take things that do not belong to you again. We actually made him happier with us. Great. Grandfather's crazy. Father and Mother have been focused on Nathan and you since early morning. Instead of breakfast, you were told to say your prayers and wash your hands and faces and get dressed in plain white shirts. Today is your day of sacrament. Mother, I want to go play in the yard. No playing today. You and Noob are big boys now, and it's time for you both to have your first sacrament. No one can live without a first lot. I don't want a lot. Be quiet and listen. You were born commoners, but you must accept a low-born lot before the twins. When you grow up, you will get a chance to earn a noble lot. Father and Mother take you to the carriage. Nathan is hungry. He starts whining. Grandfather is the last to get in the carriage. His eyes are on you and your brother, looking for every fault. Soon the carriage is moving along the streets of Anazat slowly and solemnly. One more turn and you see a colossal white building marked with 2 massive pillars. For the first time in your life, you're to enter the Church of the Twin Gods. You enter the gate and walk under the splendorous dome of the church. The church is divided into 2 halves. They are drastically different from one another. The floor on one side is rough and jagged and covered in dried brown spots, while the floor on the other is made of smooth marble. The commoners kneel on the jagged floor, and the well-dressed nobles and their families sit in the pews. Father and Grandfather leave you to sit on one of the nobles' pews. Mother walks to the rough stone of her commoner side and gets down on her knees. You see her wince in pain. For the low-born estate shall suffer in the house of the faith. The church acolytes surround you and lead you to the altar, where you and the other children will take your sacrament this day. Before you stands a tall priest dressed in the black, with a sword in one hand and a hefty whip in the other. Nathan's whining grows louder. He dislikes this place. He is scared. You remain quiet, but your stomach roils in an uneasy anticipation. The first child to take the sacrament is a jaunty little boy from a family of nobles. The priest extends the sword before him and then recites the words of his lot. From this day forth he will fight and rule and pursue the arts of his mind, now forever free from the throes of suffering. For he now belongs to the noble lot. The boy proudly touches the flat of the blade with his lips. Nathan is next to receive their sacrament. He suddenly snaps out of his fearful trance and tries to break free, but the acolyte pulls him towards the altar and throws him on the jagged floor on the lowborn side. The sharp edge bites into Nathan's knees, and he lands spraying drops of red around him. I don't want a noob. Why do they want me to whip me? What did I do? You try to break free and run to Nathan's side. You want to give him courage and protect him, but the acolyte's grip on you is too firm. You feel utterly helpless. Your little brother has to face the world all by himself. The priest starts reciting the words of the lot as he swings the lash over Nathan's shoulder. From this day forth, Nathan, thou shalt endure, work, and suffer. Thou shalt be ardent in thy labor, and humble in obedience to thy rulers. And now cometh thy first true suffering, which thou must accept with gratitude. The lash cracks, strikes his right shoulder, strikes his left shoulder. The blows are so powerful that Nathan falls to the floor. The priest tells him to rise. He has received his lot. Nathan gets on his feet and drags himself towards Mother, his knees torn and bloodied, his spirit broken. It is your turn. Your feet will not move. You can barely muster enough strength to walk to the altar. You get down on your knees and feel the sharp stones beneath you. So sharp your clothing cannot protect you. Your skin begins to burn. The acolyte forces your head down, and you feel the lash being drawn above you, ready to strike. The priest's words are for you now. This is thy sacrament. Thou shalt work and endure and suffer. Thou art about to receive the first true suffering. Dost thou accept thy lot? Catch the lash. I'm doing that. The lash strikes, but your hand flies up and intercepts it before it can reach your shoulder. The leather whip leaves a dry cut in the palm of your hand. Blood starts dripping down your arm, soaking your humble shirt with red. The furious priest yanks the lash out of your hand. The acolytes grab you by the arms again. You will not be given a second chance to interrupt the sacrament. The lash cracks, hits you on the right shoulder. You grit your teeth. Your back barely hurts at all. The real pain comes from the cut on your hand. The lash strikes again, this time on your left shoulder. You rise and walk away from the altar, swaying. You see things with surprising clarity now. A timid hand touches yours. It is Nathan. His tearful face, a mixture of confusion and awe. Mother takes your hand and leads you out of the church. Once you're outside, she scolds you for being insubordinate. Grandfather is the last to leave his church. His face is covered in red, angry blotches. There is quiet fury to his voice as he's something to his father, who remains quiet and miserable as you walk to the carriage. You defied the powerful will that day. There's fear inside you, a fear that this will might one day destroy you. We lost a perception if we gained determination. I didn't know you could lose things in this one. Well, now we know. You've taken your first sacrament and received the commoner's lot. Unfortunately, I couldn't kiss the sword. Didn't have the option. The mark left on your sacrament takes a long, long time to heal. Mother says it's a reminder of your lot, suffering and sufferance, pain and patience. Gloria shows you the mark of the lash on her shoulder one day. It will never disappear. You are a commoner now. This is your lot you were born into. But Father keeps telling you to study hard, and you may yet earn a different lot and become a noble of the mantle. You recall the past with warm sadness. When Stefan still lived with you, or when he wrote to you for a time shortly after he left, now he thinks it's beneath him to write to the commoners in his family. Mother didn't lock herself in the bedroom as often back then. This changed shortly before Nathan was born. But most importantly, you missed the time before this terrifying figure of your grandfather is constantly looming over you. You learned the true power of the lot only after the head of the family's arrival. In grandfather's eyes, no commoner deserves to be treated with kindness. It is just him, or is it the way of the entire world? The very thought makes you queasy. You are older now, and what's more, you're an elder brother now. You've learned how to care for someone else, how to teach and protect. Soon you are a small boy no longer. As the days pass, play gradually gives way to laborious study, and now your choices will decide your place in the bizarre, ruthless world of adulthood. Your childhood years are over. Well, we have ended the childhood. There we go. The important life events that happen to you in this child. Yeah, personal life, you know. The family, the sacrament, grandfather's return, we got killed, we had a fencing lesson, all fun stuff. We got 6 determinations, we're resolute and we're inquisitive. Oh, we have -5 willpower and we've died once. Well, that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I think I might actually split it up into 2 because an hour and 5 minutes is very long for the first episode of a series, so in the middle somewhere it'll probably be split into 2. That's going to do it, though. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like. If you've got anything to say, go to the comments below, and if you haven't yet, hit that subscription button. The bell helps me out a ton. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.